Chardonnay, rhyme, reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it, taking bad hits, taking bad shit, start a mix, subscribe for more things.
Stern phase. Hey, what's up, you guys? Articulation Prime here doing another Voltron figure review on the ToyNami 30th Anniversary Collector's Set Voltron Defender of the Universe. Gotta give a big thanks to Chew for making this review possible. Thanks so much, man, for letting me borrow your figure. I just punched him in the stomach while I said that. If you want to get this figure and you can't find it anywhere near you, you can get it at Big Bad Toy Store. Big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below. So this figure is more or less the same exact figure that we got from the 20th Anniversary Diecast Masterpiece Voltron figure. This one does have a lot more accessories, so we'll get into that later on in this review, but you can see on the packaging right over here, we have this hologram kind of thing going on. It says 30 years Voltron, very nice silver reflective. And then same thing over here, it says 30th Anniversary Collector Set. Very nice embossed picture of Voltron right here with the shield in the background. Looking pretty cool. And what's really nice about this, you get the shield right here at the top and you get this handle so you can carry it around if you want. And then on the side over here, we have all 5 lines. See the black line, red, green, blue, and yellow lines. And then on the other side, as we turn it around, it says 30th Anniversary Collector Set featuring light up eyes, interactive light up weapons, display based, fully transformable lions unite to create Voltron, Defender of the Universe. And then at the very bottom, it says 30th Anniversary Collector Set embossed in the packaging. You get the shield, and then it's like this sticker right here where it says Voltron Defender of the Universe. And then on the very back, there's not a whole lot going on. It's just a whole lot of green nothing. So then we can push this down here and then open this up. Oh, we will see Voltron. Wow, this looks so cool, man. Look at that. That is awesome. They're all in plastic, little plastic bags. I like how the text over here, it's holographic. This is pretty sweet looking. Let's see what happens when I take this off over here. And then that's basically it. You have all the lines in there again. And then we can lift this up and then you'll see the display base in there. And there's the instructions right here. And there's the base and then all their weapons. Ooh, man. All right, let's get to it and take all this stuff out and take a closer look at the figure. So here's Voltron forced out of the packaging, looking sick, man. I really like these lions. I think they're very cool. I mean, overall, this purchase, I don't think it's a bad purchase. You get this really cool base over here, and I think the price point is the same as it was back 10 years ago when they did the 20th anniversary. So this is the same figure, but they've added the base, and I believe they've added the weapons. So I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's take a closer look at each of these lions, and then we'll take a closer look at the base, and then we'll see him in his Voltron form. So first off, we have this really cool instruction manual over here. It has a bio on Voltron and all the pilots right over there. So I think that's pretty neat. And it also has instructions on how to assemble the base and which weapon goes to which lion and how to change the batteries out and all that. So that's very cool. So I want to start out looking at the blue lion, my favorite lion, just because it's colored blue, not because I want to be a princess, alright? Stop with the jokes, because it's taking me back to my childhood. It's totally unfair. I just like the color blue. But this is very cool. He has his weapon right over there. Fits nicely in his teeth, and if I lift this up properly, you see it just pops right out over there. And I really like the back metal on this. The chrome looks great, very reflective. I like it, and it's pretty durable and everything too. So this is very cool. And then the figure itself, man, I really like this diecast. These really have some weight to them. This is all diecast right over here up until you get into the neck section and the arms and legs. Or it doesn't have arms and legs. They're all legs, but the tail, legs, yeah, that's all just plastic, so you can move the tail in like that. None of this pops open over here. I really like the detail on the top of the head. That looks pretty awesome. Really digging that a lot. The eyes are painted with this nice gold color, which is very cool. You get the whiskers sculpted right there. He has silver teeth. Looks very nice. I'm liking the sculpt on the legs too. Very cool. Digging it a lot. And here's the underside of him. Looks pretty nice. Yeah, and the articulation isn't too bad either. You can turn the head up due to the transformation, of course, but the head rotates side to side, and it does pivot side to side too. So that's very cool. Of course, the jaw opens up all the way, and then the arms can actually, or the legs, I don't know why I keep calling them arms, but anyway, you want to move the legs, or you can move the legs in and out like that just a little bit, which I think is great. And they move forward and back. They bend right here, and then they bend at the ankle as well. Same thing over here. You can move them in and out just a little. I think that's fantastic. and then they bend at the knee, and then they have ankle movement, and the tail can move in and out. And then when he forms the right leg of Voltron, you can release it by hitting this button or expose the blue lion's culo. Ooh, that's a big culo. So even though the transformations for these are incredibly simple, I'm still going to ask Bumblebee for some help. So will you take us away, Bumblebee? Well done, Bumblebee. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is move the head all the way up, and we're going to tuck the legs in. So they're going to be like kind of flat on the floor like that. Now, one thing I actually forgot to mention is that one of Chew's complaints, and this is a complaint from the person who actually owns the figure, is that he was a big fan of Go Lion, and they had a whole lot more weapons back then. I think the original Voltron figure had a lot of weapons, so that's one thing that he wishes that the figures had, was a lot more weapons. Then tuck the tail in, and there you go. We have the right leg of Voltron. All right, next lion. So here's a look at the yellow lion, looking very cool. Here's the weapon, and it places very nicely. The teeth go in between this little slot over here. Again, really liking the chrome / vac metal. Looks very cool. And I like the face sculpt on this. I like the metallic blue paint for the eyes. This looks very nice over here. Again, this is all die cast except for the head and the legs. This piece right over here is made out of plastic, and there's nothing in the instructions that indicate that this is removable, but I feel like I want to remove it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to break it. Tail sculpted pretty well. Again, pretty much the same legs as the blue lion. Here's the underside of the figure over here. Not too bad. And we get the same exact articulation as we got with the blue lion as well. Jaw moves and the legs can move a little bit at the shoulders over here, and they bend at the knee and the ankle and everything. So transforming this, will you take us away, Bumblebee? Alrighty. Oh, again, really like the sculpted right here on the lines. Anyway, so we gotta tuck the legs in right there. And we're gonna push the tail in. Move the head all the way up. There's no real particular order to this. It's very simple. And boom, there we go. We have 2 legs. And here's the red lion, one of my other favorite lions. Very, very cool. Again, the die cast throughout the body, plastic everywhere else. Very nice looking lion. He comes with his weapon right over here. Looking very cool, and it doesn't have a slit or anything, but it easily just goes right into the mouth, and you just chomp it right down like that. So that's pretty nice. I really like the head sculpt. I like the gold paint for the eyes. That's cool. Silver on the teeth again. Very nice looking lion. I think I did a good job over here. Again, nothing really happens over here. We get this nice silver paint right here for the joint, which I think is very nice. And then we got this flat gray for the tail, which isn't too bad, and that can tuck in as well, just like all the other lions. What I really like about this is this has added articulation. Because it's an arm, you can rotate it over here at the torso. You can have him bend sideways like that, or turn around the other way and bend inward, or turn it like this, how I had it earlier, make it bend upwards, and you can do the same thing, making him bend down. So it is cool that this lion has extra mobility. All the other articulation is the same as far as the legs go. You can move them upward, and they still have that in and out movement at the shoulder a little bit, so that's pretty cool. They bend at their knees and at the ankles too, so I like that. So to transform this guy, will you take us away, Bumblebee? Alright, thank you, Bumblebee, once again. You're working hard today, Bumblebee. Alright, we're going to move all these legs forward. Tuck that in. Same thing with these guys over here. Fold all of this in over here. And this will be the right arm to Voltron. So he's got his little dinghy that you just pull right out, and that's going to connect into the black lion later on. And you kind of want to do this so that it could bend like this, so that it could form an arm, you know? That's pretty cool. And here we have the green lion. Again, I'm taking advantage of that elbow joint and getting it to move right over here. This guy has the same exact articulation as the red lion. Here's his weapon. Fits into his mouth nicely. And again, nice sculpted detail. I'm digging the chrome / vac metal. Very nice. So we put this aside over here, and then just look at this guy. Now his metallic parts are very, very speckly, very much like the blue lion. You can see over here, these both have that very metallic look to them, even though they're all made out of die cast. But comparing it to the yellow lion, you can see it's very flat. So it's just the green and the blue that have this kind of look going on, which I really like a lot. As you can see, it has a plastic head. It does not have that same kind of look going on over there. I do like this lion head though. Gold eyes look nice, sculpted whiskers, the legs look good and everything. I like the lines and the sculpt. Got that number 3 that does nothing, doesn't open up. So yeah, let's transform this guy into the left arm of Voltron. Will you take us away, Bumblebee? Okay, so just gonna move the legs right back up over here. And tuck this tail in. Tuck these arms, or these legs. Why do I keep wanting to call them arms? Then his dinghy's gonna just hang low right there. Turn it inward, and want to make sure that you have these joints face the correct way so it could form the left arm of Voltron. Very nice. This is spun the wrong way. Turn that back around. Okay, there we go. Now it's the left arm of Voltron. Very nice. And finally, we have the black lion over here. Very, very cool. Look at this guy. Here's the weapon. Fits into his mouth. Kind of weird because we have the head of Voltron in there. So it looks like there's always something in his mouth. Try to lift that up a little bit and it's still kind of there. It's always a little weird. But here's the little weapon right over there. Looks pretty cool. Consistently awesome as the other ones. And then looking at the line itself. Now he's mostly die-cast and there's the plastic in the same areas. This is painted silver right here as opposed to it being vac metal like the whole leg right there on the hind legs. So, you know, it doesn't look too bad or anything. I can't say it's a major complaint or anything like that. The neck does look a little long and this joint is a little loose, I must say. But taking a look at the back over here, it looks pretty good. I like the gold applications right there. There's the wings, it says number 1. So yeah, not too bad. And then there's the chest of Voltron and all of that. And as far as the articulation goes, his hind legs move forward and back. You can just barely pivot them in and out right there at the hip. Rotates up there and bends forward and back at the knee and then bends at the ankle. There's my phone. The tail can move up and down due to the transformation. He actually has a waist joint, so that's pretty cool that we have that. That's also due to Voltron's waist joint. He has shoulder joints that move in and out. And they kind of pivot right there at the shoulder as well. And then they bend at the knee, and then they bend at the ankle. And then the head can move up that far, which is pretty nice. And it can move down that far. Can rotate side to side, and no pivot. So yeah, that's all the articulation you get. And the jaw can open up that wide. So pretty cool. So let's get on to the transformation. Will you take us away, Bumblebee? Alrighty, so let's lift these up and move the tail out of the way. And we'll get back to these flaps. You want to get these legs straightened out. Point the toesies downward. Make sure everything's straight. Those are going to slide right into the other lions. And then we're going to lift this all the way up and around over here. And it gets a little tricky here, but it's not too bad. So you're going to lift this piece up. And then you're going to make sure that the inside toe right there, the gap between the inside toe and the middle toe locks into this little tab right inside there. You can barely see my nasty finger pointing at it, but it's there. You can see that little plastic piece. That's where it's going to go right in between, and it's going to be bent at an angle like that. And there it goes. And then you're going to, and it's kind of weird because you're going to shut this down even though this is sticking out, and it'll close like that. So it's not too shabby. And then get this rotated so that the red piece is in the front over there. And then do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so it was a little trickier getting that right side in there, but we got it in. And then we're going to rotate all this all the way forward. And there we go. And we're almost done over here. You want Voltron looking all the way up. And you can pull his ears out like that. So that's pretty easy. And there go the ears. And lift this up, and I'll form the head. Oh, wait. I'll form the head. Okay, there it goes. And he has these lights that light up in there. It's really hard to see, but the eyes are lit up. When I turn it sideways like this, you can see the lights going off in the eyes. So let's get Voltron all combined over here. Good job, Bumblebee. All right, so we're going to take this leg and put it right through here. You actually can hold that tab down if you want less rub going on between the chrome and the plastic. And there that goes. And then we're just going to take these arms and plug them in like so. That's pretty easy. And then take the other arm. Oop, put this on the wrong side. Doop. All right, and that's going to go over there. And this is going to go over here, and there you go. And here's our completed Voltron, looking very, very cool. I like seeing all this chrome all over the place. I like the proportions of the figure. Very, very nice figure over here. The legs do get very wobbly because they are quite heavy. As you can see, I'm moving them around like this. This guy's about as heavy as a Hot Toys Mark II War Machine. So that's an all die-cast figure, or almost all die-cast. But yeah, these legs are pretty wonky. Probably my biggest complaint of the figure, but it does look very, very nice. The back metal, all the die-cast, makes it look very, very cool. Turning it all the way around over here. This thing is pretty beastly, man. I'm digging it. Yeah, let's take a closer look. So Voltron's face is actually just a little frustrating as it doesn't come all the way down over here. You can see it kind of springs back up. If it could come all the way down, it wouldn't feel like the face was being so hidden by the teeth over here. And I guess it could stay down as long as he's just looking forward like that, actually. So that actually helps. But as soon as I move it around or have him looking up, then it just pops right up. So it's actually not that terrible. So it'll stay down like that. Then the light up eyes function can be stopped. It comes with this little piece of plastic that goes right in there. And you want to leave that in there so that you don't kill the battery on this thing. And yeah, I really like the head sculpt. It's kind of hard to see, but he's got this little wart above his lip right there. It's not a big deal, but I like the clear eyes for the light function, the silver paint applications, and the bluish metallic look right over there on the side of the face. Looks very, very cool. I'm digging it. It's not a bad face, so yeah, actually I feel better about it knowing that if I just push it a little bit more, it'll stay down. Now I remember Chu saying that he felt like these fins could have been bigger. I think they look alright. They don't really bother me. I think they look pretty cool actually, but I guess they could be a little thicker, and they're a little, you know, loose as far as this hinge goes, but it's not too bad. I think it looks alright. And then looking at the chest area and the crest on the middle of his torso, looks pretty good. Then there's his waist and his belt, just a tiny bit of paint chipping right over there. Star kind of looks like it's sculpted funny, but I think it's supposed to look like that. Since we already discussed the other lions already, we kind of know what to expect from the arms and the legs of this Voltron masterpiece figure. Technically just the 30th anniversary version. Now for me, the most frustrating part of this figure is the articulation. Actually, I already complained about the head moving side to side and popping the face out, but you can't get him to look up that much, mostly due to him being a lion, and he can't look down very far, which is very cool. I'm glad that they have that feature in there. They have this huge cut right there in that torso or in the chest area so you can look down. So that's pretty nice. And then these do get kind of hindered out of the way, but you can move these arms outward and you can rotate them forward. They bend at the elbow that much, and they rotate at the elbow, and they can rotate over here and move all the way around, and the jaws open on these things, as I had already mentioned. The waist moves side to side, but it stops right here because of this belt buckle. So it can move like that, and it moves like that, and that's all you get from the waist swivel. The legs can move outward only that much. They move at the upper thigh over here. You can bend them forward. They only bend at the knee that much. That is very, very disappointing. And same thing with the blue line. It only bends that much. That's not enough movement, I think. And then he does have a wonderful ankle pivot. That's nice. And you can turn his foot downward and upward too. But that ankle pivot's useless if you can't really do too much with the legs anyway. So when you get this 30th anniversary edition of Voltron, you get this awesome base, which is very, very cool. You can see it has a sword, the shield over there. We get this clip for the key. We get the key right here, which is great. And then it also stores all the weapons from the different lions. And you can see they just plop right out over there. They have this grid thing going on. And they hold there okay. And this has a whole light up section over here, which is pretty nice. So what you want to do is you want to push the key in and then push it in again. And this whole thing lights up over here. It's kind of hard to see, but it lights up. And then in about 10 seconds, it's going to make a lion's roar just on its own. And it's going to keep doing that every 10 seconds. So pretty soon now. Yeah, so it's just going to keep doing that, and it won't stop unless you shut this off. So we could put that like that, or just leave it like that. And then just to get a closer look at this key, I think it looks very, very nice. I like it. Pushed it in right there. There's the end of it. Pretty nice, man. I like it. And you also have this clip which you can attach it to, which is very cool. So you split it open right there. Make sure the key is opened up like that, and then clamp this down. And there you go. And then you have this little clip right here where you could attach it to your belt or whatever you want. I think that's a pretty nice little feature that they did there. And Voltron's shield looks very cool on this display stand. I really like it a lot. You have to make sure that this is pushed all the way back, or it can droop forward and it'll look kind of strange. And to pull this out, you want to turn it sideways and then lift up. Same thing with putting it in there. Put it in there sideways, then turn it around. And I think it looks very, very nice. Look at the gold paint applications over here. And the vac metal looks fantastic too. This is pretty neat. And it has this little peg where it could fit into Voltron's hand. I'll show that in a minute. And then here's Voltron's sword at the top of this stand over here, looking pretty nice. I really like the detail in this a lot. And again, it has this peg sticking out over here so Voltron could hold it securely. Very, very cool. Look at that. Very pointy too. So as you can see right there, the red lion has this hole right there in his mouth, in the roof of his mouth. And then you can just slip the sword right in there. And like I said, he has this peg that goes right in there. And just clamp that shut, and there he goes holding the sword. And then same thing with the green lion. We can place the shield right in there and peg that in securely. And peg that in securely. There it goes. And then close that shut. One thing I wanted to mention also is that this base is actually a bit of a letdown too, because this stand over here doesn't actually hold Voltron. You can't really get Voltron leaning up against it or having it cradle him in the taint. It doesn't work. And there he is holding both of his weapons, and I think that looks awesome. Unfortunately, it's still very hard to pose this guy around, but yeah, Looks sick holding the shield and the sword like that. I'm really digging it. Now to get a measurement on Voltron here, he stands at about 12 inches tall. And compared to another sword and shield wielding chromed out 80s badass, here's the TF4 first edition Leader Prime figure. All full of chrome all over the place. And yeah, Voltron's much taller. I had to do a comparison with him because, you know, Peter Cullen, voice of Optimus Prime, did the intro to Voltron. And for combiner's sake, here he is compared to the Fans Project Menasor figure. Thank you, John 3.0, for making this happen, which I had actually reviewed this guy and lost all the footage when I came back from New York because my hard drive had been destroyed. Awesome story. And then here he is next to the Iron Man 3 Hot Toys Mark II War Machine figure, so he stands a bit taller than Voltron over here. And of course here he is next to the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. So unfortunately I don't have any other Voltron figures to compare this to. I haven't picked up a Voltron figure. I had one when I was a kid, don't have it anymore, and I've been waiting to get a Masterpiece Voltron, and this is not the one I'm going to pick up. I have to say I'm disappointed in this figure. The articulation is a bit frustrating. I tried to get him in a somewhat dynamic pose over here, and it just looks silly. I think the base is pretty cool, but the figure itself, it just lacks articulation. It's just frustrating to deal with. The die-cast parts are pretty heavy. These arms kind of fall down somewhat easy if you try to lift them up too high. The legs are super wonky, as I had already talked about earlier. So the articulation is kind of a bit disappointing, especially after all the other stuff that we see from other companies like Transformers, man. I mean, Transformers have done amazing things lately, and we're not really seeing that here with this Voltron. So I'm waiting to see a Voltron figure that's going to be extremely badass. It doesn't have to be die-cast. I'd actually prefer something that was made out of plastic that was much more articulated. But other than that, it's pretty cool looking. If you're not really into posing figures, then you'll really enjoy this, and you'll enjoy this setup because the base is very, very cool, and having him up on top of the base like that isn't too shabby at all. So that looks pretty neat. Anyway, I'm going to take a bunch more pictures of this guy. Please check him out at toynewseye.com. Hit the like button if you like the video, leave a comment, and do not forget to subscribe. And thanks again, Chew, for making this review possible. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Crispy.
Yo, come on, you're alright. Don't cry.
That just caught me off guard.